Firstly, thank you for joining me today. Can I get you guys to introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about how you two work together?
Brilliant. Shall I go first?
Why don't you go first?
My name is Anita Sheridan-Roddick. I am the CRO at Baidam. Baidam are a cybersecurity organisation with a managed services practice, professional services practice, and a product and licensing practice.
And I am Vivienne Winborne, mainly known as Viv, and I am a senior marketing manager for One Little Seed. And we have been working with Baidam for 3-ish years as their marketing manager as a service, and having a wonderful time working with the whole team. Into the mic.
Bit closer to the mic, it helps.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, I can be in here.
I think working with One Little Seed has actually allowed us to grow our brand in market exponentially because we're working with experts and that strategy alignment where we've got an amazing team of experts. Actually, we love One Little Seed who are able to deeply understand who we are, our growth strategy, and put that out in market for us.
And also, I think that you have such a wonderful story. And when we first started working with you, I mean, it wasn't being amplified. You didn't have a mature marketing structure in place within the business. And so one of the roles that we took on was to look at that story and say, okay, we've got Jack and we've got Pip and they're out there telling this story whenever they go places, but how can we amplify that further and make sure that it is ingrained in every piece of communication that's anywhere and help more people to understand that story?
It's a really good point actually, Viv, and it comes back to the conversations we've been having a lot lately, you and
Yes.
I, and how do we move any organisation from a founder-led organisation into a scalable business that can grow rapidly, without the founder being in the business daily and, as I say, bravehearting that and going out and evangelising the story. And, it's that time to bring marketing in and, really take our story and put it in market. It's probably important to understand, actually, Baidam are an Indigenous-owned cybersecurity organisation, and we're profit with purpose. So to date, we've given back over 50% of our profits into enabling First Nations to have access to STEM education via...
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually really cool, via a number of mechanisms and, taking what we're doing and putting it out in market more broadly is really what One Little Seed have done with us.
Well, and one of the things that was fascinating to talk to Jack about, who's one of the founders, from an Indigenous perspective, culturally, they generally don't put themselves forward. Culturally, they're quite humble, and so even from that perspective, I think that having marketing, having other people around to tell the story and instill in a very humble way, but amplify that really important message around what the business is doing in a way that the founders have still felt very comfortable with, that doesn't feel like big noting or anything like that, but is more just expressing the purpose surrounding the business and also the quality of work that goes on in the background. It's not just an Indigenous business that is giving back profits, it is also a very high quality of execution. You're getting both sides of that and finding a way to enforce both of the messages, not just the Indigenous side, but also the quality of execution and the thought and the hard work that goes into the services.
And leaning on our capability. We just did a session in a Catalyst actually, talking about, when to market and how to start the marketing process. And I think the hardest job a founder will ever do is step back and allow someone to take their story.
Very, very true.
And I mean, Ben, this may resonate with you. There also is a point, I think, and we didn't get too much into this in the Catalyst discussion, but and it's perhaps a slightly controversial thing to say.
Oh, please, we love a bit of controversial.
But I do think that there's a point where the story needs to go above and beyond the founder themselves. Yes, definitely when a company first is marketing themselves or talking about themselves, often the brand personality, the tone of voice is very much built on the founder, because the founder has been the person who's out there selling. The founder's the person who knows the business most intimately, the person who, is best able to sell what the company does. But there's also a point where if you are wanting to grow and expand beyond a certain point, the business itself needs to have its own tone of voice and its own brand personality, and that's not always going to be reflective of the founder. It's not the founder multiplied. But, it actually needs to evolve, not away, and definitely not away from the point, well, usually not away from the point that the founder feels comfortable or what they've envisaged it as, but just it's a maturity or an evolution or an ongoing transformation.
I agree. I think scalability is so hard in our industry, and how do we go from a small organisation delivering great technology to our current customer base? How do we go from that and create a scalable and repeatable business, but still stay nimble and still stay agile? Because that's generally, as smaller MSPs or MSSPs, our superpower in the beginning is often being nimble and being agile and having that conversation. And perhaps the marketers and the technologists listening to this won't like this, but from a sales organisation, we can't wait for the build it and they will come. We have to kind of sell it
first,
and then build it.
Mm.
And how do we maintain that?
My team call those
scale?
Ben specials, which, and I think a lot of
course they
founders
do.
have that sort of approach. What advice would you give founders that are maybe smaller and they're trying to get out of that founder-led sales? They're making that transition. Any advice that you could give?
Shall I take that
Oh,
first?
look,
Well, you can both jump in. Go for it.
You go first and I'll go after.
Yeah, I think this is a really big one. You, as a founder, really have to look in the mirror and acknowledge where you need support. What is your superpower as a founder? And then where are you letting the organisation down as a founder? Because I can almost guarantee that most founders are letting the organisation down somewhere because they can't scale themselves. They can't carbon copy themselves and grow.
Yet.
And,
And they're wearing 59 hats and attempting to do that on a day-to-day basis.
100%. And, I don't want to generalise, but founders are such great evangelists of their solutions, of their technology, of their team, of their people, of their story. And sometimes we find in an MSP environment that we're bleeding BAU out the back end. So, often that first step may be a relationship manager, which is a hard pill to swallow sometimes from a founder sales engagement, because they're bravehearting this. They're out there, they got their sword, and everyone's following them to the death. And someone who's stabilising is the antithesis of their personality. So, my advice is look at your hole and plug it.
I love it.
And I'll extend on that a little bit, because from a marketing perspective, one of the biggest things I find going into different organisations is that even if people are already doing marketing activities, maybe they're investing in an event, or they are, whatever that may be, they might be putting out a newsletter, or they might be, but often there's a lack of consistency, there's a lack of measurement, and there's a lack of follow-up. So if you say to somebody, oh, you did this event 12 months ago, what was the ROI like? And they'll say, oh yeah, it was, hey Mark, how was that event? It was all right, wasn't it? It was pretty good. And it's this kind of gut feel reaction. Nobody can say to you, okay, So we got 7 leads. We followed them up within a week. We then had 3 decent conversations, and we converted 2 of those over, or we're still having conversations with that person who we did speak to at that event. That is extraordinarily rare to find that. And so one of the things that we often would advise from a marketing perspective, it's not necessarily do more things. If you're a founder-led salesperson and you're looking at that next step of growth, it is finding the person, the team, the structure, the processes to do those things more effectively and to get your money's worth from those things that you're already potentially doing, trying, experimenting with.
Marketing for the sake of...
Did you just say process to a sales founder?
I did.
I'd
I
like
know.
to say that you were in the room with the wild bears.
And let's just say I have worked with Ben from a sales and marketing perspective.
I was
too.
going to say, you're touching on a few different pain points here.
Yeah, Ben's like,
nerve
yeah.
endings
Oh,
knocking
I-
through the
I
heart.
know where you're
Knife
coming
through
from
the
here.
heart. What? Event effectiveness? What? Measurement? Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so we're here at Catalyst today, and I'm asking all of the interviewees of this, but why are you excited about Catalyst? Can I get a bit of a commentary from either of you?
Of course. I'm excited because it is very... what's happening today is that there are a lot of very genuine conversations with MSPs without... it's the whole pitch of Catalyst, right? It's not vendor driven. We're not selling solutions. I'm not telling you about my product. You're not telling me about your product. It is really peers learning from peers.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that in every conversation that I've had, even where you are saying, oh, I'm from this company, I'm from that company, it's very much that sharing of knowledge and meeting of minds, if you like, rather than any kind of vendor pitches or sales conversations.
I love our ecosystem. I am so passionate about channel. And, I've had the privilege of working in this industry for nearly 30 years. And I have learned so much from my peers in the channel, more than I've learned from a vendor or any external organisation. The space to take time and sit down with other peers in the industry and learn what they're doing well, learn what's not working, and work on it together. I think, we go to a lot of events, and, I always say to the vendors, whatever you said at that event, I don't even know. That was great. But, I sat down with these 10 other MSSPs, these 10 founders, these 10 leaders, and I learned 5 new things that I can take back to my business. And, that's Catalyst is affording an awesome opportunity for that.
Definitely. And we've gotten to have a really great chat. So there's that too. That's a selling point for me.
Absolutely.
Well, with that, guys, thank you very much for sitting down with me. You guys were interviewing each other, which was fantastic. You made my job very, very easy.
We're so happy to have a chit chat. Whenever you want us to have a chit chat, anytime we'll be back.
We did suggest that it wouldn't be a problem, didn't we?
Not at all.
No prep needed.
All right, well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of Catalyst.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
us.
Ben.
Cheers, guys.